doctorarjaybe. Recently on Quora, I talked about the concept of an athlete who is playing through pain. And, the problem with that is the possibility that more damage is going to be done if somebody has an injury and they continue to play. It's, kind of this hero idea that somebody who is injured, they're going to go out there and they're going to do, their usual job, even with the injury, and they're going to perform and win the Super Bowl or win the basketball tournament, even though they're injured. I think this is a dumb concept because if somebody, let's just say, has a knee injury, and instead of taking care of that knee injury, they decide to play through the pain and play through the injury, you could make that knee injury even worse and cause more damage. They've been very careful lately about concussions because people used to play through the concussion and wind up having further injury to the brain. They realized that there were some football players who had so much damage to the brain that they were developing early dementia problems because of the multiple injuries to the brain that they had when they would have concussions and they would go back into the game and receive more damage. Actually, one of the quarterbacks of the Chicago Bears, called Jim McMahon, had a lot of concussions and was playing, even after the concussions, and would get another concussion the next week. The report that I heard was that he had developed dementia because of all of his brain injury. That's just another condition where you don't want to really play through the injury or play through pain. If you're having a problem with something like that, you really need to be kept out of the game. So I like the fact that they have changed the rules so that if somebody does have a concussion, they are immediately evaluated by a physician to determine if they do have a concussion, and if they do, they are kept out of the game and even kept out of the next game to make sure that they are evaluated and that they don't have any residual injury before they're allowed to go back in the game. Similarly, I see that there is more of attention on injury in football. I mentioned something about a derotation brace that I've seen on some of the offensive linemen to try to protect them from knee injuries. Because, basically, if they step the wrong way or they hit the wrong way, they could have a knee injury, and that may end their career. In basketball, we'll see situations where somebody sprains their ankle and they go out of the game, and then they come back in the last quarter and go back and start playing. That may not be a smart idea. If you have an ankle sprain, it's better to take care of it rather than maybe taking some pain medications and wrapping it and going back in the game again. Even if you are the person who wins the game with the last second shot, you're still exposing your body to more injury with the possibility that you might wind up with a arthritic injury later on in life, and may even have a hard time walking normally because of the damage that's been done. So I think, these days, I think if we're going to be smart, we try to get these athletes to come out of the game and have their injuries taken care of by good medical care, so that they don't wind up with permanent injury.